You're listening to the Agony Column News Report featuring interviews, phone interviews, reports from live book events and festivals, and conversations with readers. You can find additional news, interviews, book reviews, and more 5 days a week at the Agony Column website at trashotron.com/agony. D.T. Max is the author of The Family That Couldn't Sleep, a medical mystery. His new book is Every Love Story is a Ghost Story, a life of David Foster Wallace. Thank you for joining me, Daniel.
Thanks for having me.
This is such an interesting book, and what I really love about it is that for all that it gives us this incredible insights into this life of this author, his life and his character are such that you also evoke, I think, a whole nation through a whole generation. And I think that's a really interesting effect of reading this book.
It's something I was trying to do. I'm glad to hear you say that you found it in the book, because I saw, in David Foster Wallace, because of his sad early death, there was also an opportunity to write about a generation that has really never appeared in biography yet. And it also happens to be my generation. He was 1 year younger than me. So there's a whole world of culture, especially pop culture, which I wanted to try and sort of relate to his life. And I think in that way that the reader can identify with it. The reader can also start thinking a little bit about David in relationship to him or her.
One of the things I think that's so interesting about the challenges you clearly face putting together this book is that you have David's life and David's writing and David's life in his writing. And that's three levels that are, difficult to disentangle and difficult to put back together in your own nonfiction work.
It is, it's tricky, but I think David gave me a gift in a sense, in that, for him, the concerns of his writing and the concerns of his life were so similar. In his writing, the great change that comes over David as he's working on Infinite Jest in the early 1990s, as he begins to get away from the kind of ironic style of, it's sort of dominant among clever people in this culture, the kind of David Letterman style, and he moves towards a more sincere or authentic way of talking. And of course, in David's own life, that was exactly the same path that he was trying to follow. So unlike some authors, a certain kind of author reaches a certain age, and really all you can honestly say about them is that they sat down and they wrote. They wrote well or they wrote poorly, but they wrote. And with David, that's never the case. It's not just that his life is full of drama, though it is for sure.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?